Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and anyone in between. Any and all, welcome back to the Creepypasta Vault. Let's enter. In case you missed it, we just went over 10 other stories in the previous episode. Now, the journey continues in the second episode of our Worst Lost Episode Trilogy. Will it get better? Will it get worse? Only time will tell. But there's no going back now. Welcome back to the vault, everyone. The adventure continues now. Let's begin. Number 10. Killer Luna. Do you remember that old Playhouse Disney show, Bear in the Big Blue House? Well, if you remember the show, then you probably remember Luna the Moon. Deep inside Luna, I don't like where this is going, she is soulless and bloodthirsty. I was working at Walt Disney World in Florida as a janitor, well at least that's better than being an intern, as I was cleaning inside a soundstage when I encountered a tape of Luna from Bear in the Big Blue House. The label said Luna 666, I mean what else would it say, written in red ink. I put the tape in a nearby VCR and hit play. The picture faded in, it said Killer Luna in big red letters. The show started out normal with the intro, but the film had a red tint and it got darker and darker and darker. After the intro, it showed a stroller with maggots and a layer of dust all over it. A round object with a white glow was in the stroller with loud crunching noises. It cut to a faded image of Luna with red foam coming out of her mouth, and there was extremely loud screaming in the background. Then it showed Luna eating a little boy. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip this. Then it cut to Luna screaming for 5 minutes and then it faded out. The tape ejected. I vomited. So did I after reading the story. Apparently, one of the writers that used to be an animator had a history of poor mental health because, as we all know, poor mental health means you're a psychopath crazy person, right? He used his animation skills to create the Killer Luna tape. The man then crawled into his bathtub with a gun and committed suicide by shooting himself in the temple. I quit my job in Florida and moved to New York. I have never told anybody this story, not until now. So, why did Luna do all of this in the first place? And how did the tape end up on a soundstage at Disney World? You'd think people would have just thrown it out after seeing it for the first time, or at the very least take it to the proper authorities. Wait, why am I attempting to insert logic into this story? Number 9. Over the Hedge 2. You know, I always wanted there to be a sequel to Over the Hedge when I was younger. I really liked that movie back in the day, and I love the suburban setting and the characters. I can feel the nostalgia setting in as we speak. Will this story be able to deliver on the arbitrary hype levels that I have single-handedly built up for myself? We shall see! So one day I was walking around some Walmart and I eyed upon one beautiful sight. It was Over the Hedge 2, a sequel to my absolute favorite movie. I grabbed the only copy before anyone else could. The case was red and there was a tear in both of Verne's eyes, which I didn't notice until I got home. I zipped to the cashier and put it on the conveyor belt as fast as I could. The store was about to close, and it came up as $0.00. This is definitely a bootleg that ended up in the store somehow, friend. Don't be surprised if it's a little off. It's probably a snuff tape. I didn't read enough creepypastas to avoid that little trick, so I got it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Never mention the word creepypasta in your creepypasta. When I got home, I scurried to the DVD player and looked at the case. I noticed the red cut in both of Verne's eyes as he was smiling and giving 2 thumbs up. The fact that Heather was missing from the cover, and that RJ's eyes were angered. I was guessing that someone accidentally torn the cover and that DreamWorks couldn't put Heather in for whatever reason, but I was still suspicious of RJ's eyes. This is the equivalent of going, I thought it was just a glitch. When I popped in the disc, there were no commercials, but instead a black screen with the Gygas theme playing for 2 minutes. I see where the author got inspiration from. And then it went to the title screen, which nearly gave me a heart attack. Yeah, title screens are scary, man. It was the same title screen, but all the bags were torn open. The glass was cracked, all the price tags were $6.66, the bee was laying down dead with a butcher knife in its belly. A bee? In Over the Hedge? What is this, a crossover episode? The Shrek 3 trailer bag had Slenderman on it. The music was remixed in G major. The Hammy Boomerang Adventures bag had no Hammy on it and no text either, and when the truck drove by you could hear the truck's noise. Then a screeching, a girl screaming, and then a crash. Anyone who has never owned the Over the Hedge DVD will be very confused at what the author is describing here. I mean, I've owned it, so I know what they're talking about, but someone who hasn't seen it will have no idea what this is referring to. I chose to start the movie. Then there was the old DreamWorks opening, even though I saw no DreamWorks logo on the case, but I paused the movie, looked at the case, and saw a normal back, but due to the blood stain making the words, "Help me, I was too weak to stop it, please don't pop in the disc." How did you not notice that before? I only saw, "The cast is back in Say what now? I expected this to be a sick joke and someone hacked the title screen. I was wrong. As I heard the clicking of the coins and the buttons, I saw the vending machine with Heather's head in the first slot. The price tag said, "You're dead, little girl," which I hoped referred to Heather, because I wasn't a girl, and I ass nowhere near little. And it got stuck before falling, and RJ yelled, "No! That fresh meat was just..." As he banged the machine, he continued, "Sitting right there." And everything after that was normal, until he saw Vincent's cave. RJ said, "Vincent. No, bad idea, as normal." But then I heard in a demonic voice,
"I control over you. You cannot make your own choice."
RJ, crying, went up near Vincent's cave. That part when he hit the "Do not feed the bear" sign, he looked up and I just saw some red legs, and I heard RJ screaming and some biting, and some evil laughter. Me, scared out of my skull, I reversed to see what killed RJ, and it was a red demon with a key. I expected it to be RJ's captor. Next was the bark scene, which was normal, but when the porcupine father gave his children the bark, the children rejected it as usual but said nothing. When Vern brought these sticks to the log, he grabbed some bark, but it wasn't bark. It was instead a hand still moving. Every time Vern took a bite, the hand stretched its fingers out. After a while, these scenes got more and more distorted. Eventually, Vern went over the hedge.
He said it!
And RJ was standing in front of Vern, which was strange because RJ got killed. RJ grabbed Vern by the neck and tied him to a rocket, and blasted him off into the sky. It didn't show what happened afterwards though. RJ entered the hedge and everyone was excited and group hugged him, but he said, "Goodbye, weaklings," and took out a chainsaw and killed all the animals, besides the porcupine children who were too short for his chainsaw. Well, that was a sudden change of pace. Eventually, the screen was blood red, and RJ appeared saying, "Whoever was foolish enough to watch this movie will go with the other fool that watched this." That's my best Bruce Willis impression. I'm just kidding, I don't remember how he sounded like in Over the Hedge. I got so scared that I threw the disc out the window and buried it so it would never be seen again. I also broke the case and put my Over the Hedge items in a box for 3 weeks because I was too scared of Over the Hedge because of that movie. Why? Why would a creepy bootleg tarnish your love for the original film? Today I watched Over the Hedge, remembering that moment, which is why I'm posting this. So I guess those occurrences were just so traumatic that you repressed them from your memory until they were brought up again? Now that's what I call psychological horror, although I don't think that was what the author was going for. Speaking of the author though, here we once again have an example of an author who wrote a story years ago, is able to recognize the faults and shortcomings in it after some reflection, in order to be self-aware and to grow as an author and person. As I always say, this kind of stuff should be encouraged and commended. Good on ya, Moonsnail. I can't wait to see what you come up with in the future. Number 8. Rugrats Lost Episode.avi. Yes, it's time to make Rugrats scary, everyone. Hi there! Oh my god, that voice crack. Hi there! This is my first time being here, and my friends recommended me to tell you guys what I witnessed because, well, this is very strange. A week or two ago, I was surfing on the internet, searching up some Rugrats stuff out of curiosity since it was on late at night and I had nothing better to do. I deeply searched out of boredom and found this website that was titled Rugrats Lost Episode Free Download. I immediately clicked on this out of excitement and downloaded. Don't you know that you're not supposed to click the big flashy download button on these types of sites? It didn't take long at all and my media played suddenly popped up. It wasn't a lost episode, I recognized it in the first few minutes it began. It was the episode where the babies and Angelica were preparing for it to rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Anyway, I watched through it, and after that the credits rolled. During the credits I was shaking my head, thinking, well that was a waste of time. Just like this story. After that, I was startled by a booming scream on my laptop. To my surprise, the Classic Supo logo popped up, but it was entirely different. I took a screenshot of it because it was out of the ordinary. The style wasn't recognized at all, it was slightly terrifying. It wasn't the same animation either, it was rather choppy, though the pupils were dilating and returning back to normal quickly. It ended, but that was so incredibly weird, so I thought that I should share this to you guys, even if it sounds corny or not. That's it? That's all the author could think of? A logo looking slightly different for an episode? Ooh, I don't know about you guys, but I'm shaking in my boots! Really though, did that have to be a Rugrats creepypasta? They were barely in there! Number 7. Diary of a Wimpy Kid Game Over. I guess I'm breaking the rules here for this one story, as it's not about a TV show or movie, but a lost book. I hope that's alright. Well, I'm doing it anyways. My dad is a man-child who likes Diary of a Wimpy Kid so much, he forces me to read it with him whenever a new book comes out. Wow. After what I just experienced, I don't know if I want to read a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book ever again. I was walking down the street one day when I saw a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book I had never seen before. It was black and read Diary of a Wimpy Kid Game Over. It had a picture with Greg in tears holding a gun to his head, with a noose in the background on it. Well, that seems like overkill. It listed Jeff Kinney as the author as usual, so I just assumed it was a new release with a darker turn to it. I picked it up and took it to my dad's house. He was not home, so I went to my room. I couldn't tell at the moment, but something about it didn't seem quite right, so I opened it up and read it myself. It was typical Wimpy Kid style drawings and text allegedly by Jeff Kinney, but something was very different from those other books in the series. Greg swore heavily in this one, as opposed to the profanity-free earlier books. I don't remember every single word in the book, but I can give you a synopsis. It was mainly Greg talking about how much he hates his life, how only bad things happen to him, and his desire to commit suicide. He starts taking drugs and drinking alcohol. As this goes on, the text and drawings get cruder and more low quality, as Greg is under the influence of drugs while writing and drawing in his diary. Well, at least there's a commitment to authenticity. In the final day of his diary, in practically illegible writing and crude distorted drawings, Greg finds a gun that belongs to his brother Roderick. He calls up Rolly to come over, telling him he has a surprise for him. Rolly arrives at Greg's house excitedly. A drugged up and crazed Greg takes Rolly up to his room and blindfolds him. Greg puts the gun in Rolly's mouth and shoots. Rolly dies immediately. Greg, in tears, points the gun to his own head and apparently kills himself. Real blood is visible over the last page Greg had used, not to mention the next two. Greg only used a third of the book, which had as many pages as any other Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The other 2/3 of the book was blank diary pages. I felt disturbed and queasy, like I could throw up. In fact, I did briefly. Oh, congratulations. I never believed the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series would end with Greg committing a murder-suicide with Rolly. I threw the book out the window in my dad's room into the street in front of cars, where it hopefully got ran over and destroyed, but I can't be sure. Jeez, dude, that is wildly irresponsible. What if you hit a car with the book which leads to a car crash? Think before you act. After it scarred me for life, I didn't want someone else to find it and have the same reaction I did. No decent person should have to read that horrible, scarring book. And yet you went on to share everything that happened in it on the internet. I am afraid to say that the one job that you did have, you failed at. Better luck next time! Number 6. Family Guy Joe's Revenge. Is there anything this creepypasta can do that Family Guy hasn't already done when it comes to shocking, disturbing content? I suppose we'll find out. So, does anyone remember the show Family Guy? I mean, it's still on the air, so I think a few people are aware of it. Well, you didn't know that Fox re-uploaded the episode on YouTube, but Fox didn't re-upload an episode called Joe's Revenge. Yes, I know that it was aired in some countries. It was 10:10. I stayed up because I couldn't sleep. I decided to watch some TV. I was channel surfing. Suddenly, I changed the channel to BBC 3. Doctor Who was just finishing. Then the announcer said that Family Guy is coming up next. After the 3-part commercial break, the new episode was finally coming on. I was excited, so I made some popcorn with some apple juice. When I came back, it just skipped the theme. That's weird, I thought to myself. Maybe it's a more serious episode. The title card said Joe's Revenge in blood red text and the background was a chainsaw. I was laughing because I thought this is a morbid joke, so I continued watching. The episode started with Joe in his room, looking very angry because he is getting sick and tired of Peter. He then said, "I am going to kill Peter." He then runs out of his room to go outside. He saw Peter who was running away. Joe then gets a chainsaw so that he can kill Peter. Joe then chased Peter. He threw his chainsaw at Peter and Peter screamed in pain when he saw blood coming out of his body. Joe must have good aim. Joe then got his chainsaw out of Peter and he laughed because Peter is finally dead. He carried Peter to his house. It then cuts to Joe inside with Peter's dead body. He then said, "Sweet dreams, Peter," while holding a desert eagle. He then ripped off Peter's head with blood spraying all over the camera. The blood was either food color, or was it real? I'm definitely sure it's totally real, yeah. Also, what was the point of the desert eagle if he was just gonna rip his head off anyways? Now, instead of the credits rolling, there was a black screen for 30 seconds. It then cut to Peter's dead body, which looks not that realistic, but a bit real than computer animated graphics. Then the screen went black again. This time, it took 4:43 seconds. Then text appeared in Korean, saying, "Killer Joe is watching you, Jordan." Foreign languages are scary. Then the TV turned itself off. I tried turning it back on, but it wouldn't. I let out a scream and smashed the TV with a giant hammer. Yikes, dude, was that your berserk mode? The next day at 07:49, I looked up IMDb to see if there was any searches for the episode. None. I went to Yahoo Mail and contacted Fox about this. "Where did you find the episode? We are sorry that your dreams have been crushed. One day there was a guy named Max. He was hired in 2001, but got fired in 2007 for making these kind of episodes. We are sorry for making you scared, and we will send you great stuff." Wow, these Fox representatives will have to work on their grammar. Then they just sent me the Cleveland Show DVDs, The Simpsons VHSs, American Dad DVDs, and more. What do you mean, just? There was also one more thing. It was in a cake package. It was a "We are sorry" cake. I ate the cake anyway, I mean, what else did you want to do with it? And kept my VHSs and DVDs for my little cousin. I kept the other stuff. Also, one more thing. do not watch Joe's Revenge. If this episode is somewhere, don't watch it. Thank you taking time for reading this. Well, I'm glad you're grateful, but I'm not. I spent time reading this. Number 5. Fairly OddParents, Creep Dreams. I work at Nickelodeon Studios. Yes, I believe that. And in 2008, I found a safe with a note that said, "Do not watch." And I open it up. Well, you're getting fired. I found a VHS of Fairly OddParents. It seems that it only had a satanic sign on it. Only a satanic sign? And then I wondered to myself, what if I did? I played the tape and it turns out there were some mistakes in the intro. Here are the mistakes. 1. The chocolate shake is blood. 2. Vicky's head didn't turn into something funny. Instead, her whole body turned into the devil. After Vicky turned into the devil, she flew to the screen and said this in a demonic voice.
"You little twerp!"
Then blood went flying everywhere. Then cut to the title screen, it showed Timmy killing AJ and Chester. It showed in blood, Sweet Dreams, but then turned into Creep Dreams. Then cut to the episode. Timmy was plotting a plan to kill everybody, including himself because he turned emo. First he went to the school and repeatedly said, "You bitch!" to every person he met. Turns out he got detention. Yeah, I wonder why. But for some reason Vicky was there and Mr. Crocker was smashing her into smithereens! And blood was flying everywhere while he was jumping on her. Vicky then turned into a ghost and again flew to the screen and said,
"You will die soon."
Then static went for 1 minute after it showed a bunch of tombstones. Then the fairies died. And you know what? The Fairly OddParents world died. Wanda and Cosmo shot a beam out of nowhere, and the Fairly OddParents world exploded! Oh, that's epic. And that was the end of the tape. But 2 months later, Vicky appeared in the studio I was in and nearly killed me! And I told the creator of Fairly OddParents, why could you do this? And then the owners of Nickelodeon Studios fired him. Oh my god, Butch Hartman, why would you do this? They still show reruns though, but Creep Dreams will never appear again because I lit the tape on fire. They hired a new creator too, so that's how they made Wishology. What the hell does that mean? P.S. Whoever made this horrible troll pasta, this is my first creepypasta. Twerp. P.S.S. More people are making this horrible troll pasta. How many times do I have to tell you this is my first creepypasta? Twerps! Oh my god, that was the funniest shit I've ever read. Oh my god, that was amazing. What else can I say about this masterpiece? Creep Dreams fulfilled all of my dreams, I'll tell you that much. Number 4. Peppa Pig Jeff the Killer banned episode. Peppa Pig and Jeff the Killer in the same room? What is this? A crossover episode? Oh god. I think this is supposed to be like an audio drama. Oh well, time to bring out the voice actors! Peppa has stolen skids and is taking her friends for a mad wild drive around Peppa Town.
Oh no! We crashed! We will have to get out!
Okay, climb out everyone.
Let's have a cigarette.
Cigarettes are very bad for you. They can cause lung cancer and you could even get tar in your lungs.
Edmund knows a lot about cancer. He is a clever clogs.
Okay, we will have to no smoking.
Maybe we should go swim.
It's that guy from FindMinecraft.com.
Die, Peppa Pig. Die.
Oh no, Peppa!
Die, you bacony bitch.
Wasberry jam.
That isn't raspberry jam, George. That is blood.
Edmund is a bit of a clever clogs.
Blood?
Blood is a liquid that...
Shut up! We must run!
The end. This episode was accidentally shown on Nick Jr., and there is no footage of this mysterious episode online. Oh, fuck off. It got the original Peppa Pig creators in jail, and they had to hire new ones. Why? For making a spooky cartoon? What a world we live in. Number 3. Transformers G1 Megatron's Rampage. Please do not delete this pasta. I wasn't planning on it. I remember back in the day, my favorite show was Transformers. It was a show about robots and a battle for good and evil. Thank you, author. You have now immediately brought everyone who has never seen the show up to speed. Very descriptive. In fact, have you guys heard about the movie Star Wars? It was a movie about space wizards in a battle for good and evil. I bet you're all up to speed now. I always try my hardest to collect the toys, but the prices were always insane, even for 1984. Fast forward to 2010, I was disappointed at the Michael Bay movies. I mean, we all were. I wanted to see the original series again. So I looked on eBay. Am I gonna have to count the mentions of eBay too? And I found Season 1 for $1 and I decided to buy it to relive my childhood. 5 hours later, I got an email with a text file saying, information from animationseller@hotmail.com. I opened up the file, it said, thank you for ordering Transformers G1 Season 1, the item will come in a regular DVD case with a Transformers picture on it and the disc will not have a label on it. I mean, nothing seems out of the ordinary so far. This is standard eBay business. 17 days passed and the package arrived on my doorstep. I brought into the house and got a knife. I cut it open and the DVD was the same thing like the text file described. I put the DVD in the DVD player. The menu had an image of Optimus Prime and Megatron in chibi form. I thought that was stupid and unfitting. It had all 15 episodes of Season 1 if you include More Than Meets the Eye miniseries. At the bottom of the list there was a 16th episode titled Megatron's Rampage. I played the episode to see what it was. The episode started without the intro. It started with the Decepticon base. As it closed up, we see Megatron with the other Decepticons. Megatron was planning another attack on the Autobots when Starscream said, "Why do we wait to attack? We should attack now." Megatron looked pissed and slapped Starscream and said in a deep voice, "The reason we wait to attack is because of fuck-ups like you." Starscream replied to Megatron, "I do not consider myself a fuck-up. Now the real fuck-up is you. If I was the leader, the Autobots would be piles of screws already." Holy moly, what heart-piercing drama. I am completely invested. Megatron picked his arm blaster and killed Starscream. Then we see a close-up of Starscream with his now black eyes with his mouth open. Jeez, Megatron, trying to act all high and mighty before throwing the first punch or laser of death. Real reasonable there. Then Megatron said, "Anyone else?" Megatron stormed out of the base and went to the Autobot base, and Bumblebee went to Teletram 1 to contact Optimus Prime. Bumblebee said, "Optimus Prim," yeah, spell checking is for pansies. "Megatron broke into the base, we need your help." Then Megatron choked Bumblebee until he was dead. Like Starscream, his eyes were now black and mouth open. Then Megatron turned to the camera saying, "Matthew, I am coming for you, I am not fucking around." That's hilarious. The episode ended. From there I took the DVD out and put it back in the case and took it outside and burned it in the fire. Of course you did. Burn your only piece of evidence. But how did Megatron know my name? He is just a cartoon. I will never know. Yeah, how did Codsworth know my name? I guess we'll never know. What a wonderful story that was. Number 2. Fairly OddParents Lost Episode .avi. Another Fairly OddParents story, and another AVI story on top of that, eh? I wonder how this one is gonna turn out. I decided to go search for Fairly OddParents episodes when I found a free one called Fairly OddParents Lost Episode .avi. I decided to download it and watch it. All it was pretty much was Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, Poof, and Sparky preparing for a 40-day and night storm. Wait a minute. When the credits were rolling, I nodded. That was a waste of time. Then soon a large bang was heard from my computer, and it shone the Nickelodeon thing by surprise, but it looked different. The orange splat was a red splat, and the words were black. It was different, so I decided to take a screenshot of it. It was slightly terrifying. I didn't know Viacom had a secret lying around. This is the lost episode of Fairly OddParents. What? Here we have a story that completely and shamelessly rips off another one, even using the same descriptive words and everything. That was just like the Rugrats story, but shorter and inferior in every way. How embarrassing. Well, at least this one was mercifully short, but that doesn't make it better. Number 1. Go Animate Creepypasta. Anti-hobby kids gets killed by police officers. A Go Animate Creepypasta? This cruel, cruel world knows no limits. Someone who does know about limits, however, is this author. I bet they had a word limit they needed to reach with this monstrosity. Just a hunch, though. You may have heard about a YouTube channel called Anti-Hobby Kids. Nope, never heard of it. It was funny until this video I recently saw that was uploaded by the user, and I have solid proof of this video's existence, and I will just tell you the story of my personal reaction to this video. Ooh, this is gonna be good, let's hear it. The first thing that showed up on the screen was a disclaimer of some sort, and it reads, and I quote, "Anti-hobby kids once made a video until she realized that it was too spooky. YouTube took down the video 1 second later. I find that very hard to believe. But we still have some of the salvaged footage found in YouTube HQ basement." I just ignored the disclaimer and proceeded on to the video. The video starts with Anti-Hobby Kids watching some funny cartoons until out of nowhere, cops shown up at her house. They said they were here because she deleted most apps on the iPad like Google Play. I also noticed that the second cop's voice is all muffled and creepy. I mean, I've heard of police showing up at people's homes for the weirdest of reasons, but that seems a little bit drastic. The cops proceeded to execute Anti-Hobby Kids by beating her up, which killed her. Oh my god, I take that back, that is very drastic. Then suddenly, static appeared on the screen, which startled me. The scene after the static was a bit creepy. It just showed the living room, but randomly selected music was playing in the background, but then all the furniture was gone and extremely creepy music was playing in the background, and I was scared. But then static appeared again, and Thunder Bro and Dex Dog Detective? Motherfucking Dex Dog Detective from Food Fight? Are we getting a Food Fight creepypasta next? They were on a show stage, and Thunder Bro said, "If you are watching this right now, you will die in 2 days." Static appeared again! Next scene was a scene with Demo Man from TF2 and Venturian Tale. Why the hell are these random characters here? This is so incoherent, it's maddening. Demo Man said "burn in hell" to Venturian Tale, and Venturian Tale was crying. Then there was a censored beating up scene and Venturian Tale died. But then all of a sudden the screen was all red and it looked even more scary. Then Phantom Freddy jump scared me, and it scared me so bad I almost fell out of my chair. Then the last scene had the dead bodies of, I presume, Brendan Barney and Bob the Builder. That's 2 of the worst stories so far to have featured Bob the Builder. What is Bob's secret? And then static appeared on the screen and the video was over. I was so scared that I jumped out of the window trying to commit suicide, but I failed and I badly hurt myself. I regret my life and I hate my life now after watching that horrific video. I hope I die soon. Well, you sound like a very unreasonable person, to be quite frank. You must not really view your life in such high regard if what it takes for you to turn suicidal is a Go Animate video, and one that makes no sense at that. Imagine watching a video with Dex Dog Detective and deciding you don't want to live anymore. Come to think of it, that was a bad example. And with that, the second act of our trilogy is over. They say the second act is usually the darkest, the one where our heroes are at their lowest points and must overcome the adversities they face in order to rise up and succeed in the end. Will this prove true, or is this no more than a mere subversion of your expected outcome? Is the worst yet to come? Well, find out next time as we conclude the terrifying Worst Lost Episode Trilogy. See you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay awesome. Goodbye. Wait, why am I attempting to insert story? Why am I attempting to insert story into this logic?